Detroit Lions in trade conversations. I don't know if you guys see this or not. They're actually from your home state, Ohio. The Browns. Ohio. The Browns got quite the defense.
Yes, they do.
They have a surplus of cornerbacks right now.
Yes, they do.
And one that's eligible for 50-year option.
Denzel Ward?
No.
I wish, dude.
You wish.
Talk about mail in my pants.
It is Greg Newsome. 6'1",
I want it.
195 pounds. I think he was drafted in like 2018. I think it was taken. First round pick out of what is he, Northwestern?
Yes.
Probably sooner than that, I think.
Before we get into the whole slob fest about Greg Newsome,
Okay.
I do want to caveat this.
Caveat
With what he has in front of him and what he has next to him.
Okay.
You know, you're looking at a guy
Okay.
who has Myles Garrett in front of him. So Myles Garrett by himself will make cornerbacks look a lot better than they are.
Drafted in
and on the
2021.
other side of him, you have Denzel Ward, who is one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. So I think he's good, and I'll take him for sure. But I'm not going to say he's cornerback one. On our team, he will be.
Yeah, on this team,
On the
yes.
Lions, he will be. That's a pretty low bar. I will just say that he's not
What?
to that level
Cute?
of. We were talking about Marshawn Lattimore, but Marshawn Lattimore is a much better quarterback than Greg
Yes.
Newsome.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll take him, though. I love it. I would hands down take him. He would be the best cornerback on our team immediately when he walks in the door.
Are we in agreement with that?
Yes.
Everyone? Nick?
Yep.
Trav?
Yep. Agree.
Let's do it. If it's a real thing, Trav, yeah, I mean, you're more familiar with the Browns than we are. You're Browns fans.
It just makes me sad
Yeah, I
because
got black friends. I'm just kidding.
they see Greg Newsome and they see that it's going to be a cheaper to get him than Snead, than Lattimore, and everyone's all over it. Oh, this guy's going to be our cornerback one. This guy's going to change our defense. But then they see we want to trade for Snead, we want to trade for Lattimore, guys that will actually be our cornerbacks ones, come in, change this defense, and they're totally against it. They don't want to give what it takes up to get him, but they're all happy to get Newsome. And if you see Newsome in the playoffs, Newsome did not want to tackle a soul, and Newsome was getting burnt against Houston. But people are still so reluctant to give up picks and money to get L'Jarius Sneed, who throughout the whole playoffs was just locked down in an actual cornerback one. So
Yeah.
I just think it's ridiculous that these Lions fans are just so like cheap.
It is weird, man.
It's
It
the-
happens every year where Lions fans act like it's their money.
I talked about it on BDE. I made a little rant, and I'm going to do it again because I'm feeling good right now. And fuck all you. No, I'm just kidding. Lions fans.
talk to you.
I talked about this on
Got a few
BDE.
drinks.
The shit pisses me off the most is when we say we need a cornerback one. We need a cornerback one. We can all agree on that. We need a cornerback one. And then when the scenarios get brought up of
No,
bringing
too
in
much.
a cornerback one or an elite cornerback, no, I'm not giving up that pick. I'm not paying him that much money. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. You think that shit just falls off trees? You're not going to get one for free. If you want an elite caliber player, you're going to have to pay elite caliber money or give up elite caliber assets. So I don't understand that. That is the one thing that gets me. Is we do need an elite cornerback. We do need a cornerback one. You're not just going to get that guy for free. You're either going to have to give up assets or give up a contract.
And we all know Brad Holmes can draft elite talent.
Yes.
But we do not know if he can acquire elite talent via trade or in a free agency. I mean, we brought in a guy like CJ at the back end of free agency last year, but CJ got hurt. You know, that was the biggest name that he's brought in. So we still have yet to see it, and that is okay to say. And we're not hating on Brad Holmes. It is okay to say that he has not brought in elite talent via trade or free agency yet. And that is okay to say.
And where we're at right now, we've seen what Brad Holmes can do through the draft, and he's insulated this team so well. We're not in the need of, we need 5 more draft picks because we've got all these holes to fill on the roster. The Lions are I'm gonna say the Lions were 1 player away from making the Super Bowl last year. The Lions are 2 players away from winning the Super Bowl. Brad Holmes told you guys to your face, you fill needs in free agency. You get talent through the draft. So you need a cornerback. You're going to get it in free agency. And I wholeheartedly believe Brad Holmes is going to sign 1, if not 2 cornerbacks in free agency this year. and it's going to be guys that will help you win a Super Bowl.
I want girls. I want to be inclusive. No, but I'm with you. Where I think if you grab a Greg Newsome, like there's the cap flexibility to still sign someone else, because that's the thing I think people are missing on is like he's gonna spend money, but it's not gonna be in one person. It's not gonna be invested in one singular player. That's why I kind of just like I'm not opposed to L'Jarius Sneed. I'm really not. I think that'd be awesome. He's a great fit. He plays man coverage. It's the way AG loves to do. He's a big body guy. He's gone against the best. He's played in the biggest games. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings for Christ's sakes. Brad Holmes told you he's not going to invest all that money into one guy as an external ad. What he wants to do, and you heard both from Brad and you heard both from Campbell, they want depth. Newsome is a guy you can grab that comes in, I think in this room at least, we're in agreement, he'd probably be CB1, and at an affordable price, even if you re-upped him after that 5th-year option, probably somewhere around that $13 million, going to play Kendall Fuller, who's 28, this kid's 26. He also played better as an outside corner than he was a slot guy this year too. But you grab him, and you can still grab a Kendall Fuller if you want to. You can still grab a Darius Williams if you want to. You can still draft somebody still too. Like that's the depth piece that he's talking about. That's the money he's going to spend. You grab multiple guys that all could be CB1s for you, by the way, too. Don't forget about Emmanuel Mosley, Spitty.
If you got 6 CB1s, you don't have a CB1. Flat out.
No,
if you had 5 guys who could be cornerback 1, you don't have
that's
a
not the case,
cornerback
because
1.
what you're asking for is a lockdown guy, and this is not reality. That's just like
It's not reality for them to go after L'Jarius Sneed.
There's 1 to 3 lockdown guys in the league at any given time. That's what you're looking for. Don't expect that.
L'Jarius Sneed is not a reality. The Lions going after L'Jarius Sneed, that's not a reality.
He's not going to spend the money. He's not going to spend the money.
We'll see.
We will see. But I'm telling you, he's not going to spend the money. I told 20 oysters on the line for it. Live on air. You're joining me with it.
Can't wait.
Not going to happen. He's not going to spend the money.
I just
Greg
can't
Newsome
believe
is a trade
oysters
you
are
can
punishment.
make where obviously where you're giving up an asset to acquire him is not going to be much. I saw actually in the article I read from shout out to Jeff Risden, by the way, was like, I don't even know what pick 73, and maybe like a 4th rounder for next year or something like that he had, which I think it could be even less than that.
For Newsome?
To acquire, yeah. What do you think? Like same value, right?
Yeah.
Booner in the Woodward Sports chat says Greg Newsome, Darius Williams, and draft Max Melton over Sneed and all the money in the 1st round pick.
Right? That'd be a W, bro. That's a W. I don't care what you guys say.
Yeah, if you're
what kind
running
of
6 cornerback sets, like that's cool.
That's fine.
Then what happens to Brian Bridge?
Brian,
You're starting
well, you're not
Darius
running
Williams
6
over Brian
quarterback sets.
Bridge?
First of all, a rookie and Max Melton probably not going to see the field unless like he needs to. In that situation.
Okay, so you're signing 2 guys for one spot.
You already somebody who's agreed that we're not going to rely on a rookie to like
So you're
fill
signing
in
2 guys
CB1
and drafting 1
on the way
for
to the
one
Super Bowl.
spot.
You've already said that yourself that you're not going to rely on a rookie to fill that
Yes.
for you. So you grab one guy. Yes, this is what they want to be too. They want to be competitive. They never, every single year. They don't care who you are, what you've signed to, where we drafted you. You're going to compete for that starting job.
I'd rather
That's what they're
get
bringing in. That's
one
what this
guy I
culture
know
is.
that is one of the best at his position than get 2 guys that are pretty good fighting for that spot.
Listen, again,
when you're trying to win a Super Bowl.
I'm not opposed to it, but I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. I don't know why. Like you're allowing yourself to flirt with the idea. He told you he's not going to spend the money on
He
external
also
ads
told
like
you
that.
you fill needs in free agency.
Okay, grabbing Greg Newsome's not feeling a need.
It is.
Grabbing Darius Wilson's not. Okay, so that's you're doing that.
But
you're doing that 2 times. If you grab the 2 of them, not those 2 hypothetical names.
What is more? You're grabbing 2 guys and paying both of them what you would get the 1 guy to play the position.
There's value in that. They talked about depth, and that matters. That matters.
I don't know.
And the perfect
I'd rather just have 1 guy that's worth both of them combined.
different position, but I mean, here's an example, right? Jets go all in on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers get hurt the fucking first game, first series. They're fucked. So that's like your value of depth. Now, that's an extreme situation because that's a quarterback, but that happens. You can't just throw all your money at one guy as external ad and he's not available for you. Then your team's cooked.
It happened last year with the Lions where our depth, the depth we brought in the secondary, completely failed us.
So you've gone through it. We lived through that experience, and that guy wasn't paid max money like L'Jarius Sneed's about to
and
see.
I'm not expecting L'Jarius Sneed to tear his ACL 3 snaps into the game.
Well, can I be honest with you? You should expect something to deteriorate a little bit for as long as he's playing. And I'm not talking about like year-wise.
You can't do that.
No.
You can't be like,
No.
this guy might get hurt.
When
so
you're
you
a
sign
player
him.
that's consistently visiting the AFC conference championships to Super Bowls, like 5
So you
years
expect Patrick
consistently.
Mahomes to get hurt next year?
Was quarterback versus quarterback a little bit different, right? Quarterback dropped there chilling.
But
Patrick Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes did get banged up last year, for a matter of fact. But no, for the amount of like wear and tear he has on his body, it can happen.
That
likely.
is a weak argument. I hate when people make that argument of, oh, he might get hurt, so I'm not going to do it. You could say that about anybody who's ever played a sport ever.
And that's fair. But I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to act like there's not more wear and tear on his body for going that deep into the playoffs, playing, like, that level of football, too. Like, obviously, regular season, they try their hardest regardless. But, like, playoff football, you're putting it all on the line. Everybody in that situation. Outside of Chase Young, that one play.
Yeah.
But,
Outside Cam Newton in the Super Bowl.
yeah, outside of those two guys. Maybe, okay, well, let me relax a little bit.
Yeah.
But regardless, there's wear and tear in that man's body. And then again, Brad's not going to spend the money, invest $20 million.
LeBron ain't
when
never
he
got
can
hurt. No.
get two guys that can fill that role and get it done. This is what I'm trying to get Brian McFadden back on the show, just because obviously he won the Super Bowl with the Steelers. He played the cornerback position. I want to ask him, who do you want, like a L'Jarius Sneed or like a plethora of guys or a platoon of guys that can go out there and like fill that
Greg
role?
Newsome and Darius Williams.
Yeah, and to be honest with you,
I'm taking L'Jarius Sneed.
I'm kind of cool with the depth. That's where I'm at with it. Nick,
I would probably rather take the 2. I'm cool with the depth because I don't think Brad Holmes is going to do it. So I'm kind of like settling in. Spenny, I know we want it, but we have not seen it yet. Like I'm going to go back to.
We're talking about what we want, and that's what I want. I want a quarterback 1. I don't want 4 cornerback 2s out there. Like Cam Sutton. Cam Sutton's not your cornerback 1.
Hell
Greg
no.
Newsome on a team with a very good cornerback, like I don't know, the Browns, is not your cornerback 1. Darius Williams, he's not your cornerback 1. You go out and you already got a cornerback
Darius
2.
Williams had 4 receptions and 16 passes.
Is he a cornerback 1? Is
he would
on
be
a-
ours.
Yeah, and that's the point. We don't have good quarterbacks.
He had a phenomenal year.
And he's also 5'9" and has only played outside
He had
quarterback
a
for
phenomenal
1 year. So you're comfortable.
At 5'9"
You're comfortable
outside.
with being Darius Williams is the cornerback on the outside for a Super Bowl winning team.
If I have Darius Williams and Greg Newsome, yeah, sign me up. I would love that. I would love that.
I like Greg. I like Greg Newsome, and I would like him out there. But Greg Newsome and Cam Sutton and Darius Williams, they're all in the same ilk of player. Am I wrong for saying I want an elite cornerback? Is that bad of me for saying I want a guy on the corner that I can put up against Justin Jefferson twice a year? That I can put up against, I don't know, Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel in the NFC Championship game and be comfortable knowing he's locked on an island with that guy? I'm not comfortable locking Greg Newsome, Darius Williams, or Cam Sutton on an island with Justin Jefferson twice a year. I am not.
I'm fine with it. We beat the Vikings this year twice with Kendall Vildor and Cam Sutton.
We were giving up like 150, 160 yards a game to every single team's best wide receiver, and we were winning.
Yeah.
I mean, we should have
only been 3 losses.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, CeeDee Lamb went off in that game. CeeDee Lamb went stupid in that game, and we still should have won that game.
Yeah.
Should have.
I think if you do,
And we had Calvin Johnson and saw him go off against teams, and we still fucking cashed in losing records.
Yeah, but there's different when you're playing those teams in the NFC Championship game than when you are in Week 7 of the regular season. Like if you're going up against hypothetical scenario, the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC Championship game, and you have CeeDee Lamb lined up across from you, are you okay with Cam Sutton being on him for your fate of the Super Bowl on the line?
So unless the Cowboys go and grab a receiver 2 to fit that, I'm not scared of it. Because this, again, we went through it with the Detroit Lions. Where we had, I'm sorry for Nick, I know you want to say something, I apologize.
You're good.
But we had the best wide receiver, arguably of all time. And didn't do dick with it.
Yeah, because we didn't have an offensive line or a running back.
Football games are platoons of receivers, and that's what the 49ers had. Like, when you have a bunch of them, guess what you need? A bunch of quarterbacks in that scenario.
So the platoon of receivers the Lions had, when you have Golden Tate and Calvin Johnson and all of that, like, it's not... Calvin Johnson being great and not having other people next to him wasn't the reason the Lions weren't winning. The reason the Lions weren't winning was because they had no offensive line, no running game, and only a defense for 1 year. That's the reason the Lions weren't winning. It wasn't because they didn't have a second wide receiver.
But I'm just saying, teams with that one elite receiver, that they're just depending on that one elite that one guy to carry them, that never happens. The teams that win are the guys that play team football. It's the guys with platoons of wide receivers.
I just want a guy who I know can lock down that one receiver when it's there. I want to know. I want a guy that I know when you have. And we already have the other platoon. You want to talk about platoons of defensive backs? You got Cam Sutton.
I'm good with Cam Sutton. Idiot.
I'm good with Cam Sutton being on the number 2 receiver. But if there's a number 1 guy, I would rather have a L'Jarius Sneed on him.
And can I say this too? Every corner gets burned. It don't Jalen Ramsey. It happens. It's going to happen against those. It's going to happen against those. By the way, I put up the stats yesterday for L'Jarius Sneed versus Jamar Chase, and you're like, well, that's not shutting them down. Like, yeah, great receivers are going to eat regardless. There's no sense in putting freaking.
So there's no sense in paying an elite cornerback. Is that what you're saying?
Unless it's Ramsey. If it's a Ramsey type, yes, I'm paying him. L'Jarius Sneed's not Ramsey. Ramsey plays slot for you. He play outside. He can move like wherever you want him, and he shadow anybody, anywhere on the field. L'Jarius Sneed ain't that. Nick, I'm sorry. You know you want to say something.
No, Spenny just said it. Back in the past, when we did have like the good Lions team is when we had a great defense. And you think about what made that defense great. It was their defensive line. That's what needs to be addressed here. I've seen it in the chat. The defensive line will make these cornerbacks look better. You think about guys like Van Den Bosch, Cliff Averill, and Ndamukong Suh. These guys were game wreckers.
Yeah.
And our defense was elite because of that D-line. So I think if we do go depth, we definitely need to get a guy to pair with Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get an elite player at one spot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If they do go depth at corner, I believe they need another playmaker on that D-line.
Yeah, if you're not getting an elite cornerback, you better get an elite pass rusher to pair next to Hutch.